What is good, Josh on the Spool Game, man? Back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today we're back with the Week 12 Power Rankings, man. Want to go and get this out, of course, before the Thursday night game. So anything I say, don't end up not aging well. You know what I'm saying? But hey, let me know what you guys are thinking of the NFL season so far. How is your team doing? Down in that comment section below, as always, like, subscribe, and turn the bell on so you guys know new videos are going live for your boys. So, interesting week. Chiefs finally lost. I felt like it might happen. I didn't pick it. Of course, I picked the Chiefs to win. I didn't think the Bills could do it. I just thought it was time for the Chiefs to get a loss. And as far as like the rest of the season opponents, this was one of the best ones they could have faced here. So there was obviously a chance for it, but I still picked the Chiefs. I thought they would pull through. And honestly, if they made it through this one, it would have taken like a, what do you call those? Trap. It would take like a trap game to like make me, or like some weather scenarios, some injuries, something to make them not go perfect. So I think they needed it for sure. Give them a little wake up here, but maybe now I'll show the team to wake up a little bit. Still one of the heavy favorites as far as Super Bowl contenders, so I'm not even worried, but this will probably drop them down in the rankings a little bit. Detroit, another mind-blowing win. The Bills probably helped their case. Baltimore helping their case. The Eagles with another strong win. We pull out another win, 2-win streak in a row. Second time we've done that this season. Unfortunately, it's only led to 4 wins. So we'll see if we move up at all. But let's just go ahead and jump straight into the video, man. We'll get off my soapbox and just come straight into it.
Do you have a favorite post from the last couple weeks or so about a fan base that's passionate about where you have them slotted, Eric?
Yeah, very enthusiastic Bills fan ripping me for putting them at number 2 overall, right? The disrespect, can you imagine, Mike? It's shocking at this point. I get if you're a Bills fan, you've seen Josh Allen do some amazing things this season, but let's have some perspective. Lions are pretty good too, you know?
Well, I'm glad, and that's probably the best place to start with the number 1 team as we take you through the rankings.
Tango Cap, bro. You really want me to say that the Bills are better than the Lions right now? No. Oh, dang. I didn't mean to take that off the screen. So number 1, we got Detroit, 2, Buffalo, 3, Kansas City, 4, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Steelers, Ravens, Packers. I understand the Ravens dropping for sure. Pardon me, especially with how well the Steelers have been playing and winning their games, I might say flip-flop the Steelers and Vikings. That's probably the only change I'm making, though. Flip-flop Steelers and Vikings, and I'm good. Let me know down below what you guys think. Are you guys really rocking with that? That should be the most commented thing right now. Bills, Lions, who's your number 1? I'm still going Detroit.
All right, let's start with the number 2 team. It is the Buffalo Bills. I ask you this sort of with a smile on my face, knowing some of the social media reaction that you get. This is a Bills squad that's beaten the Chiefs last 4 regular season games. They haven't beaten them in the postseason the last 3 times. Does the win from the weekend even matter?
It does, but maybe not in a we've got their their number kind of way. We, like you said, obviously the postseason record speaks for itself. Buffalo's still got to prove itself once it gets to the postseason, especially when you know that inevitable rematch is coming. But yeah, I mean, it's important because it keeps the door open for the Bills to potentially steal the number 1 seed. Now the AFC East is all but wrapped up. We know that, but it also speaks to the fact that they won without Dalton Kincaid. They won without Keon Coleman. I mean, they're still kind of shorthanded on defense and were able to play a great game. The run game wasn't terrific, but when you have Josh Allen doing things like this, it all tends to work out pretty well. So big day for Buffalo's defense. Couple of interceptions, also the 3 3-and-outs, and I don't think you could ask for more. But like you said, until we get to the postseason, until these 2 teams face again, that Bills Chiefs thing still has an asterisk by it.
Yeah. Look, this is a great barometer game for Buffalo, and candidly, because of some of those injuries, Eric, I thought Kansas City was going to win this football game. I was all prepared in my mind last week finishing the show going, hey, you know, what do we make of this Kansas City squad who you have at number 3? They continue to win some of these football games. Now they lost this matchup, but I sit here and go, this might be a good thing for this squad. And hear me out, Eric. For sure. This is a team trying to win a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. And now
I personally think so too as well, just from a standpoint of a perfect season. Tough. I don't think it would happen. I'm not gonna lie to you. When it comes to me picking games, I pick off of feel and momentum. If it feels like you're about to lose, even though if record-wise you're not better, if it feels like you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose. That one I just couldn't bring myself to do because I hate all the Buffalo Bills hype. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a Buffalo Bills hater. I just hate the hype. So I wanted to pick against them, and I was hoping it would be right. But sometimes you got to go with feel and emotion, and that loss, I think, actually gives them a better chance to win a Super Bowl. Now, if they had walked into the postseason with a perfect regular season, I would have had that percentage a little bit lower.
It'd be great for a team like the Chiefs that has accomplished so much over the last 5-6 years to add another feather in their cap with an unbeaten season. Sure. It's not in the cards this year. It's not going to happen. Now their focus, like you said, is on sealing up that number 1 seed. Don't let the Bills get hot. Try to have that rematch, if it does happen, occur in Arrowhead Field and not up at Highmark. So, yeah, that's obviously the focus here. Isaiah Pacheco on track to get back. They're still finding ways to get DeAndre Hopkins involved in the playoffs or involved in the offense, rather. And, look, it's another week of rest if they get that bye for guys like Travis Kelce, who, takes so much wear and tear over this course of the season. Patrick Mahomes, too, still playing with the, a little bit banged up with the ankle and everything. So, yeah, the focus hasn't changed. Obviously, this team takes care of business more often than not. So while Sunday was a setback, I don't think it was a major one.
All right, so as far as the AFC teams are concerned, yes, it's Buffalo. Yes, it's Kansas City. We'll have a conversation on the Steelers and the Ravens. I think there's a real conversation by the end of the season to decide which team we think is truly the best team in that conference, because I still think it's up in the air and it's maybe not the team that most would point to. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles, quiet start here. I don't know if at one point this season, Eric, you might have had them outside of the top 10, but right now they move up to the number 4 spot. As dangerous as they come in the NFL, and to me, they're peaking. I don't want to say it's the right time, but clearly the second half of the season, they're dangerous.
But the numbers told a different story. This year, however, I feel like it's a stronger club, even with a worse record. And they've been, like you said, sort of growing since the bye week in all 3 phases, really. I think especially on defense, you've seen the big improvement there. Yeah, there's still a little bit of a slow starting offense. We'd like to see a little more first quarter action there from them. But by the end of the game, they find a way to kind of crank themselves up to a rolling boil. Saquon Barkley's in the MVP discussion, even for a running back. Jalen Hurts has played great football. They have their stud receivers back. Goddard's back. It's all shaping up nicely, and they are dominant in both lines of scrimmage, which to me says a lot about a contender. If you're healthy on the offensive and defensive lines and you've got difference makers up front, you have an excellent chance to make some damage in the postseason.
Look, we're going to talk about the Rams a little bit later here on Power Rankings. They get that team Sunday Night Football across the street from where our studios are at SoFi Stadium. I can't help but think that the Rams are going to be haunted by a loss on Monday Night Football against Miami the other week. They responded with a win against the Patriots, but boy, get this one, get the Sharpie out and circle it. That is going to be must-see television. It is time, though, for Future Champions presented by FanDuel. As we take a look at the odds for the AFC North. Hello, the Pittsburgh Steelers, still the favorite to win this division according to
y'all better put y'all money on Baltimore, though. I don't know if it's going to happen for real. Even though I did say that I would switch them up a little bit higher, that's at the moment. When the season ends, if you want to make some money.
But let's focus in on the number 16. It's the Steelers. Yeah, they're in first place in this division. I'm going to say it, Eric, knowing that I might take some heat for it. I think they got lucky against the Ravens.
I think they did too, right? You win a game without scoring a touchdown.
Send the hate to Eric.
Boswell.
I might have said it first, but he doubled down on it.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you, right?
Send it to me. I'm tripling down on it because there's no way you supposed to win a game with no touchdowns, especially against an offense as good as that. They got lucky. It was a bad week for the Baltimore offense.
After both of us, I think it's a fact. Now, look, obviously you can't negate the fact that Nate Herbert made a great impact defensive play right away, kind of spurred everybody excitement. Patrick Queen made the big turnover right before halftime. Peyton Wilson, same thing. Look, they played Lamar Jackson great, right? They got just enough big plays from Pickens and Harris and guys like that. But it wasn't a great game from Russell Wilson. The offense still had some fits here and there. The defense still was a 2-point conversion away from losing this game, and they had to have missed kicks from Baltimore just to get to that point. So, yeah, in no way, shape, or form should the Steelers be beating their chest and saying we're the clear, kings of the AFC North at this point. But they have had Baltimore's number in recent matchups. They seem to kind of get in their heads a little bit and muddy up the waters when they play them. So that rematch looms large. It's going to have a big say on who ends up winning the division. But Steelers in a really nice place all of a sudden. They're in a good spot. Game and a half up, 2 in the loss column, feeling pretty good.
Yeah. What's the old adage? Better be lucky than good. By the way, I think the Steelers are a good football team. All I'm saying is three turnovers the Ravens had, the 2 missed field goals, a missed 2-point conversion, and Derrick Henry, who never fumbles, and they lose by 2. That's the argument there.
That's a lot.
That's
You had to go
Steelers once
wrong.
again.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The Ravens, though, you actually dropped them 3 spots. They get the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Great game that is looming. But based off of the way that they played against the Steelers, should I be worried about this squad?
Like every week, we've got sort of a new area to focus on, right? I know we've talked about Justin Tucker. He's had struggles throughout the season. That was an issue Sunday. The defense, which has been a problem more often than not, actually played pretty darn well, I thought. So it was a big bounce back game for Zach Orr's group. Did enough on that side of the ball. But offensively, this was Lamar Jackson's worst game in over a year probably. And he still made plays, but it wasn't enough. And they seem to kind of get in his head and, force him to make some uncharacteristic throws, not very accurate. This is the problem if you are so heavily reliant on what has been a great offense, no question about it. Things like this happen if you can't have that great day offensively. It requires everything else to be really buttoned up, and 2 missed field goals, not so buttoned up. Penalties have been an issue all season long, Mike. That's one of those things where you say, look, John Harbaugh and his staff are great, but hard not to overlook the results. The bottom line is they're just making mistakes.
Yeah, I still can't believe we're talking about a 7-4 football team. And for what it's worth, all of us are fans, Eric, and sometimes you're watching a game and you just throw out something. You have no idea if it's fact or not. I had said this to myself. I'm like, I don't think there's a team in the NFL that's got more drops on 3rd down. Well, here's the beauty of working at NFL Network. You can just ask your research department. They looked it up for me. They are tied for the 5th most, only 4 drops. But as I was told, hey, sometimes that is a little bit of an arbitrary stat. But the point is, it's still a really high number for them. It's apparently 4 on the season. I feel like it's more than 4. But the point is, there's been quite a few of those. Meanwhile, there is a team that we haven't even name checked. In fact, they're in the next tier of squads that I think is as dangerous as they come in the postseason. We'll tell you who it is, and we'll get Eric's take on that. That's still to come here on Power Rankings.
All right, so here for the second quadrant, here we have the Chargers, Commanders down 2 spots, Texans, Cardinals, Broncos, Bucks, Seahawks, 49ers. So Buccaneers higher than Atlanta, interesting enough, despite being 4-6. Yeah. No, it's obviously not, the power standings and everything, but I think I'll probably put both the Seahawks and 49ers above the Broncos at the very least. Now everybody that's left, probably I still have the Cardinals over the Broncos. Texans still over the Cardinals, though. I probably would still put the Commanders over the Chargers, if I'm being honest, though. So maybe Commanders, Chargers, Texans, Cardinals, Broncos, Seahawks, 49ers, Buccaneers. If that's just me, let me know down below what you guys got.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. I mean, tell me you didn't watch that game and immediately think of the Jacksonville playoff game, right? I understand it's a different coaching staff, and that obviously makes a big difference, I think. I mean, even if Jim Harbaugh had that glazed look on his face at times in the second half, they found a way. They were tough. I mean, Justin Herbert, I think, was like 5 for 18 at one point in the second half, missed some big throws, and then found Lab McConkey for the 2 big plays late. That ultimately was the difference. I mean, obviously, Cincinnati not being able to convert. This has been a very, very good Chargers defense all season long. They've kept point totals down. They hadn't allowed more than 20 points in a game all season. They allowed 21 in about an 8-minute stretch there in the second half. So there are some questions with that secondary. The pass rush didn't always get home, but still, as you said, I think there is just a different attitude, a different belief there now that they aren't the butt of the joke anymore. They can go out and win these types of games. So big statement with Ravens next week, Chiefs in a couple weeks. They've got some tougher tests up ahead.
Yeah, we'll talk Cincinnati coming up in just a bit. By the way, during the game broadcast, you mentioned some of the numbers for Herbert. I couldn't believe it. And if I'm misquoting him, totally my bad. But I thought Mike Tirico said there was a 0 for 7 stretch for Justin Herbert, which was the longest incompletion stretch of his career. Just have that resonate in your mind for just a moment. That's how good Herbert's been in his young career. Yeah, terrific. Texans win on Monday Night Football. Lopsided win here. Is there a team in the AFC playoff picture that would be scared of them, though?
Fair question. Good question. Yeah, I don't know that there is. You look at the Chargers if they end up facing off as a 5-4 matchup, or the Ravens. I don't think either one of those teams is going into Houston scared. I mean, you saw Monday night, obviously.
Maybe not scared, but I do think they can beat the Chargers. Now, Baltimore, different story. Pittsburgh, probably not. Kansas City and Buffalo, no. I think there's only teams that's ranked higher than them right now in this power ranking. So as far as those teams, they're probably only beating the Chargers, but
score indicated a kind of a lopsided victory, as you said, but Nico Collins' touchdown gets pulled off the board on the first play of the game because of penalty, and it kind of emblematic of the entire game, right? There was some promising stuff. Collins was back. Joe Mixon was terrific. Stroud kind of settled down after the early pick, but also several steps back as well. Penalties, mental errors, things like that. They got a defensive touchdown that kind of bumped up the score a little bit. And credit goes to that defense. I mean, Danielle Hunter was great. The strip and score from Derek Barnett, outstanding. Derek Stingley in coverage, great. But let's also point out the fact that other than Mixon, they didn't have a whole lot of consistent offensive, firepower, if you will. So I do have a little bit of worry about them finishing drives. And are they going to play this well defensively every week? I'm not so sure. It was a backup quarterback in Dallas. So still those questions exist. They remain the massive favorite to win the AFC North or South, I should say, and get that home game. But to your point, I don't know anyone's going to be going in there really scared about facing them at this point.
Yeah, I think there's still there are more questions than answers right now around this Houston squad, especially on the offensive side. Still a positive. I'd rather have some of those teaching moments with a win. Nico Collins coming back obviously should be a huge boost. We did see him flash yesterday in that win, or Monday night, I should say, against the Cowboys. The one team you could make an argument to the question that I had, and you and I were talking off air about this, is the Broncos squad, maybe in that postseason mix, not scaring teams. But the way Bo Nix is playing, like I get what we're seeing at the top of that quarterback class with Caleb and Jaden Daniels. Bo Nix, let's not forget, he kind of fell a little bit. He's balling right now, and the Broncos are winning some football games.
Yeah, the second best in the draft.
Absolutely. One of the first rookies to complete 80% of his passes, throw for more than 300 yards, career high on Sunday. And
got that Drew Brees influence. Sean Payton influence.
Also have 4 or more touchdowns in a single game. Actually, he's the only one to ever do that, but it was a lot of zone defense from Atlanta. He took the reads that were there. Sean Payton's play calling certainly helped Bo Nix out a lot in that game. But, when he had the few opportunities to create, he made plays too. So you see him kind of letting that leash out. Peyton, they have this interesting relationship, a little of tough love, but also an appreciation from Peyton, talking about the maturity and the poise that Nix has shown and the toughness. So he's a running factor. He's thrown the ball accurately. He dissects zones like he's back in college. I was very impressed, and that Denver D holds up too. So they've been great. I'm not saying it's a Super Bowl caliber club, but I do think it is the kind of club that, like you said, if there was a Texans-Broncos type of matchup in round one, they can go in there and give them a darn good game and possibly come out with a win. So really good progress from the start of last season till now. Sean Payton has done an excellent job, I think.
I don't want to speak for you. I'll just speak for myself. I didn't see this happening. Like, great ball kind of experience. Even if he was playing well, I didn't see a turnaround like this, especially if you look at what this Broncos team looked like on the football field a season ago. There was a lot of questions around this team. So major respect, hat tip to Sean Payton.
Ooh, he was the quarterback last year. I forgot.
Time for Power Moves presented by Energizer. Sitting at number 15, it's the Seattle Seahawks, Eric, who move up 2 spots. 2 spots as an Arizona squad. Speaking of things that I didn't see happening, going on the road, beating the San Francisco 49ers in the Bay Area, that's a big time win. And all of a sudden, this division looks as wonky as ever.
Sure does. 1 through 4. I mean, it's sort of almost where we thought the NFC North was a month ago, but it's not quite as powerful on top. San Francisco's had a disappointing season. Seahawks started 3-0, then fell back. But when you see a game like this and the way it played out, San Francisco had every opportunity to win it. The Seahawks dug in, found a way. Great last drive. Geno finishes it off. He's been through so much up there, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. Now a coaching change this past season, but, really got to admire what he can do at the end of a game after he's taken a lot of hits and had some disappointments. So again, like you said, we kind of write them off, push them out of the picture a little bit. They find their way to wedge back in. It wasn't pretty on either side of the ball, but you got to give the Seahawks their kudos. They're actually small favorites against the Cardinals, who've been terrific this season, played a tough schedule, but yeah, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, let's see how that one shakes out, I think, for both of these teams, because Arizona is one of those squads that I'm sitting here going, all right, like, I'm believing in it, but to get this one against Seattle really gives them a leg up inside that division. Mm-hmm. But we're in the second half of the bottom half, I should say, the rankings. And Eric, there are 2 teams that are working right now that truly believe they have a run in the postseason in them. We'll tell you who those squads are. It's coming up next on Power.
Cincinnati, New Orleans. So we have the third rankings here. So 17, the Falcons dropping 3 spots after losing to us. Miami staying at 18, Rams, Colts, all of them jumping up 2 spots. Bengals dropping 3, Bears dropping 3. We're staying at 23 for whatever reason, and the Jets at 24. Give me more respect. At least put us above the Bears. At least above the Bears. Give us some more respect than that. You probably honestly would be fine with like the Rams and Colts going up above Atlanta, but Miami staying below Atlanta. So Rams, Colts, Atlanta, Miami, Cincy, us, Chicago, Jets. And I'm really putting more respect on the Bengals than I should, just off of past and how good this team is on paper. If we're being realistic, they probably should be below us too as well.
Let's focus in on this Ram squad. They move up to 2 spots. We talked about their opponent against Philadelphia that they have on Sunday Night Football. They've won 4 out of 5 here. Eric, to me, they're friggin' dangerous. Like, this team is legitimate, and when they are healthy, as good as any in the NFC.
Nah, not that far.
I think we'll look back on that Dolphins loss and say it was a big missed opportunity for them. Because I think you're right. For the most part, they have looked really good. We've seen Nakua come back. He had the diving touchdown last week. And then they pull Colby Parkinson out of mouthballs, and Stafford throws him an absolutely beautiful touchdown. It was really about the passing game in this one. New England secondary had no idea how to handle Kupp and Nakua and all the other weapons. Very impressive. Stafford looked, was kind of back to his gunslinging ways, looked very comfortable back there. No worry about the pass rush. So those issues have kind of gone by the wayside. This Rams defense, it's an emerging group, but still one that is prone to some setbacks. And I
was wondering, who is their backup anyway? Stafford got to be retiring probably in the next year or two. And then I forgot they did draft Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett? Benson? I think it's Bennett. That boy old too, though. They got to have some old QBs.
Let New England kind of hang around. Drake May had the ball with a chance to win at the end. They get the late pick to hold on. I'm curious. They did, kind of pass up the field goal. Are they worried about Cardi, the kicker? I don't know. But like you said, dangerous team on the right day. They can beat almost anybody.
Yeah. Mothballs, that's still a thing.
I see it in the store. I don't know if I ever buy it, though.
Yeah, I haven't bought it. It's always like a grandma thing in my mind. I know maybe I'm not alone, or maybe I am on that one.
I've never seen
the Cincinnati Bengals. I've been high on this team. I've been a supporter of them making the postseason. If they lose again, is there an argument?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're about under 10% in the NFL the next gen stats playoff percentages. There's just a real tough stretch right here. The best they can finish is 10-7. Kind of requires them obviously running the table, but also kind of pulling off some upsets. 2 games left against the Steelers. I mean, it's not dead. It's certainly on life support right now. You could see how unhappy everybody was in that sideline prior to the comeback. And it didn't end the right way. I mean, they were in great position, 12 minutes to go, all the momentum on their side, couldn't pull it off. It just feels like there's always 1 or 2 critical mistakes in each of these losses that really fell them at the wrong time. So, even with Josh Norman playing well in the secondary, I think there's some issues back there that they may not be able to clean up this season.
I'm looking at their schedule right now. There is a chunk of games that are gettable. I'm just throwing that out there. They have the bye.
Yep.
Steelers is not necessarily one of those teams. Cowboys are free falling. Titans aren't necessarily a good team. I get it in the division, but not world beaters. And then it's Broncos and Steelers. So I'm not saying it's an impossible schedule, but if we see the defense play like it did in the second half against the Chargers, feel confident about that offense, maybe they can run the table. Still, once again, this is going to be an uphill battle for them.
And in the last part of the quadrant, let's go back forward. We got the Browns moving down 1 spot, then everybody else kind of staying the same. This is the longest orange I've seen here. Browns, Patriots, Panthers, Giants, Titans, Raiders, Jags. I would agree with that in that order, though. I'm not even mad at that order at all. Yeah, I think that's actually, we're going to touch on that one. I'm not even going to touch that one. Let me know down below if y'all agree with it too.
But Tommy Cutlets, let's go for the G-Man. Daniel Jones, going to be your 3rd string quarterback. There's some contract issues there, which is why they're going down that path here. But what does the quarterback change actually mean for New York?
To go get a new quarterback.
Yeah, I guess it'll just sort of give opponents a different look and hopefully energize the team like DeVito did last season for a brief spell. Took too many sacks, went back to the bench eventually, but, did light a fire under this team, and they clearly don't think Drew Lock can do it. So they keep talking about football decisions. I understand that applies to Jones. It probably applies to DeVito too, but clearly this is a coach in a front office that feels like it needs to win games down the stretch to feel comfortable about their situation heading into the offseason.
I had posted this on Twitter and Blue Sky. Yes, I'm there as well. I can't, and this is before the Joe Douglas firing.
Right.
Football in New York is done. I mean, we're thinking about the draft. I'm a Giants fan. I've talked about it on the show. I'm thinking about what quarterback they're going to be taking.
It better not be Shador.
Yep.
Please.
That's the point that we are at.
That's where we're at.
Awesome week of football, Eric.
Please don't be Shador. And I guess a little bit of a spoiler. If you stay this long, you deserve it. When I do my Madden rebuild, which I always do on the gaming channel, I used to do it over here, but now we do it on my gaming channel, Smooth Got Game, shameless plug. Right now, this year we're doing the Patriots, but when I do mine for next year's Madden, I'll be doing wherever Shador Sanders goes. So please don't be the Giants. So I don't have to play with them bums. But let me know down below, man, what you guys think of the reactions list here, man. Where was your team falling? I think there's a lot of great things as we go to this end of the season, man. A lot of playoff races are starting to, we're getting towards elimination season. After Thanksgiving, we'll start looking at, the playoff races really, really seriously. I feel like after that Thanksgiving weekend game, so next week, not this upcoming set of games, but after week 13. So heading into week 14, we'll start looking at clinching scenarios, eliminations. That's where things really, really get fun and the playoff hype gets even more heightened. And we really started predicting those Super Bowl matchups. Right now, I would have to say mine is probably Detroit and Kansas City. Just the way the Baltimore, it had been Baltimore and Detroit, but the way Baltimore's been playing recently, I think I might have to roll Kansas City. I think they get that revenge against Buffalo, and I think Detroit. I mean, there's not really too much comp. Now that the Commanders have fallen off how they have, I don't think the Eagles will be able to be much comp. I think Detroit will be able to handle that pretty easily. The Commanders were the only team that I thought had some comp, and then they've lost here recently, just kind of showing the youth. I don't think it takes away from their playoff chances at all or their ability to contend, but just them falling off, bro. So Detroit, Kansas City is my pick right now. We'll probably change from week to week, but let me know down below where you guys are at with that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. It's me, boy, Sean, the Smooth, aka Black Okage, Black Avatar, King Leo. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. I am gone for the day. Peace.